Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Las Vegas. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller. And as you can see, we've got LSV. Luis Scott Vargas on the left-hand side. He's 3-0.
Yeah, round
as
four.
you might expect.
Well, yeah. Oh, he's going to troll us. He's trolling you, Marshall.
He's going to do it. He does this every time. His opponent is Eric Yu. And I heard that Eric just really excited to get a chance to play against LSV. He's a big fan of his. And I got to wonder if there's a little nerves involved. In the meantime, though, a nice start here. Noble Hierarch, although, you know, attacking with it on the second turn isn't necessarily the best case. But, hey, gets in there for 1 damage as Luis starts off with a pair of planes.
Yeah, round 4 is always exciting because all those 3 buy players entering the field. Luis Scott Vargas. John Finkel is also in the feature match area this round. So big boys are out to play now.
Very cool, yep.
Now, in terms of decks, however, Luis is not in love with his deck.
Okay.
I saw him posting to Twitter. Basically, we've talked about how what all the big pros want to do in this format is they want to go 4-color, they want to go 5-color, they want to play all their bounce lands, they want to play all their bombs. Luis is playing 11 planes and 4 mountains.
Oh, he cannot be happy with that. Now, Skyhunter Skirmisher is a decent start here on turn 3 for Luis, though. The follow-up play for Eric wasn't bad. A turn 4 Ant Queen. That thing is going to threaten to dominate both the board.
Or not.
Let's just cancel all of that. Arrest is going to shut down Ant Queen. Remember, it also makes it so the activated ability can't be used. So that's a clean 1-for-1. And he even gets in there for 2 damage with the Skirmisher, though I note here, misses the land drop here, Randy.
Yeah, well, he's not
playing
playing
for Luis.
He's actually only got 15 lanes in his deck.
15?
15.
And a bounce land at least? A couple?
11, 4, and a bounce land. So
wow.
15 and a half? Is that how you want to count
it? I guess.
He's the beatdown. He basically said, my pool just does not have the late game power that everybody else is going to have, so I got to beat him quick. You know what I'm going to beat him with? I'm going to put cranial plating onto my skirmisher and just like double strike until they're dead.
Wow. Well, he's going to double strike here again for another couple of damage. Just 2, though, so Eric's going to fall down to 60. I think we're going to see Oblivion Ring on the Shadow Mage Infiltrator. He just doesn't want to let that go. All right, this is close to as good. So he's going to play a Blinding Soul Eater, but this is pretty cool. It can actually block the Infiltrator, right? Yeah, it fears no Shadow Mage Infiltrator, so he is going to have to untap with it if he's going to want to start activating it, but it acts as a blocker here. And I think that Luis figures, look, if Eric had removal, he probably would have killed my my flyer, right? The Sky Hunter, so he's going to run that out instead. And that way he gets to keep his Oblivion Ring for maybe a potentially difficult to deal with threat down the road that the Soul Eater's not as good against.
There's a Wrecking Ball.
Uh-oh. Well, he's going to get that card right back thanks to the Shadow Mage Infiltrator. Now, this was the risk. As it turns out, Eric just didn't have all of his mana online yet, and that's why he hadn't played a removal spell yet on the flyer, but he's pretty happy to be able to get rid of that Blinding Soul Eater and get that card right back. He also gets to attack for 2 thanks to the Exalted trigger. So he's winning the race, and he's piling on the cards here. He plays the Nest Invader post-combat, and Luis is looking at a board where he's got just the Sky Hunter. Not a whole lot going on. He really needs to get the ball rolling forward. Mountain, I'm assuming, was a pretty good draw for him last turn, though, as it's going to open up a lot of his hand here.
Well, I mean, his hand is mostly white. His deck is mostly white. I mean, 4 is not an unreasonable amount, given that he's only playing 15.
Sure.
I don't know, you're right. He has lots of plays. And I look at Eric's board, and it's basically just a Shadow Mage Infiltrator.
You're right.
And Luis has to decide, does he want to continue to develop his board? Does he need to just Oblivion Ring, the Infiltrator?
Eric's just taking each of the hits here from the Sky Hunter, so he's taking 6. He's down to 14. Is this Oblivion Ring?
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, it is.
He just can't let that thing get out of hand. It just gets too crazy. Just draw, 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 draw. Especially when you look at Eric Hughes. Look at his battlefield here. He's got 4 different colors of mana. Yeah.
Luis, I mean, part of it is that Eric is actually kind of flooded at this point. 6 lands in play. I think there's 2 more in his hand.
That's right. And was that a Grim Affliction as well? If that's the case, I think we're going to see the Sky Hunter fall to the ground here. He's got the black mana there.
That is not what Luis wants to see.
It looks like Eric's going to wait a turn here. Also, it might not have been a Grim Affliction. I just think that's what it was. All right. So let's see what Luis. He finds his 5th mana here.
He's got options. He's got a Cranial Plating in his hand. He's got a Glinthawk Idol in his hand.
So now he can play both of those and equip?
He can.
And that would get him in for 6 damage?
Yes.
I don't hate that plan. It would also set up lethal for the next turn, right? Put him to 8, then activate the Glinthawk Idol next turn and attack for 8 in the air.
All true.
Pretty clean line to victory there for Luis Scott Vargas, though he has to kind of analyze the risk that he could be facing here by doing that. All right, plating. Does it resolve? So far,
Goes
so
for the
good.
equip,
And now we're going to see. It was,
Does Luis have
in
like an
fact,
Apostle's
Grim
Blessing?
Affliction.
No,
but
Otherworldly
not
Journey.
bad. So this
That's
is
great.
really interesting because Eric was actually punished there. He pulled the trigger a little early, right? The cranial plating doesn't actually change the toughness of the creature, so there was no reason to fire off the Grim Affliction quite at that point.
There was Luis Scott Vargas looking at you expectantly, saying,
Yeah.
"Play your trick."
Right, and Luis says,
sir.
okay,
Here's
that
my
resolved.
trick.
And Luis then, if he wants, can play the Glinthawk Idol to try to set up the kill next turn. Now Grim Affliction really punishes Luis. As it sits, though, not so bad.
Oh, Moonlit Strider too.
Moonlit Strider,
I
very
don't-
nice.
I think
Plating's up. Go ahead.
Sorry, with Otherworldly Journey in his hand, I don't think
He-
Luis was going to tap
No,
out for
look,
Glinthawk
and
Idol,
and
but he
that's
might
totally
have.
possible. That's totally possible, but he's much more likely to, right? Like, you give
Yes.
him the opportunity at least to
Well,
do
the other thing, though, is if Eric really wants to make sure he kills Skirmisher, he could have just done it main phase while Luis was
Yes.
tapped out.
Totally.
I mean, what he really got punished for was saying, "Oh, it's an instant. I should play it at the last available opportunity."
Yeah, and I didn't hate that play, but it really burned him there. And now all of a sudden he's facing down cranial plating and the +1/+1 counter on the Sky Hunter.
And
And
it's
this
really
clock
hard.
is very quick. And the Moonlit Strider sitting there too threatens to protect it as well.
Yeah.
This kind of forms almost like a combo
I mean,
deck.
Luis has lethal next turn.
Yeah, and I know that you drafted a deck similar, like a
did.
red-white kind of double strikey type deck, and you said Apostle's Blessing was a card that you almost put in the main and wish you had after the fact for this type of reason, right?
Indeed.
Interesting stuff. This deck it kind of combos off. Oh, is this Vengeful Rebirth?
It is. Moonlit Strider's going to beat it, though, right?
It will beat it. Yeah, he can get back Wrecking Ball with this.
All that really does is kill a Moonlit Strider.
That's right. It's going to do 4. It's a converted mana cost there. The Vengeful
Protection.
Rebirth is going to get exiled here.
And Luis knows he has an artifact in his hand, so that Cranial Plating can turn into +2, so that 4-power Double Striker can just win the game next turn.
That's right. Not a
All
lot of incentive not to go for it here either.
Right.
So here goes Luis. Play an artifact.
Kill
Crunch
you?
for the win. And Eric Yu is going to write down his life total. I don't think he's going to be
Oh.
happy about it. Yeah. And
Picks up
that's
his
the
pen,
full amount.
Does some math,
So
puts down the pen.
a nice, clean little game there. Luis Scott Vargas picks it up in impressive fashion, kind of setting up just the one threat. If that threat had gone away, that game would have played out completely differently. The real questions for Luis were the early part of the game where he had to manage his opponent's threats. Let's jump over to our other match where we have Brian Graybeal facing against Johnny Magic, John Finkel.
All Shadow Mage infiltrators all the time. Yeah, John obviously coming off of his buys as well, the Hall of Fame, just like Luis. It's a pretty nice feature match area this round. Certainly 2 of the 5 best players who've ever played Magic. You can make a case
Yeah.
that they're 1 and 3.
Yeah. This is an interesting setup here. It's a funny board to try to reconstruct, but I think I've done it. So there was a Skyreach Manta for Finkel, which looks like it was a 4/4 at one point.
Okay.
It got otherworldly journeyed. It came back as a 1, and then the
That's what
Rusalka
happened.
got sacked to finish it off, which is going to enable an attack here for Brian. So this format's weird. Like
Otherworldly Journey does a lot of work.
it does.
He
I
is-
remember Flicker Wisping people's mantas in the original Modern Masters. That was a pretty big game. That's a little better than what Otherworldly Journey does, but that's still not bad at all. And John looks like he's gone the route of what we've seen from a lot of the players out in the field here. He's playing at least 4 colors, as we can see 4 different basics on the battlefield for him already.
He's got all 5 basics in his deck.
Okay.
6/4/3/1/1 with an Evolving Wilds.
Mystic Snake, by the way, has just blocked a Sunspear.
Well, John's
Shikari.
at 4.
I see. So that's why we didn't see the Kite Sail hit on the Shikari there. And here's Death Denied
Oh boy.
for Brian. So he's going to get back,
3 creatures.
yeah, Shikari. Looks like a Ghostly Changeling at the back there, too.
Wow. John's
Maybe
got a
the
bunch.
Rusalka?
It's a Changeling and
Just for 2. So he's just going to get those 2 back.
oh, the Kite Sail activation. Sure.
Right.
John's got a bunch of value in his hand, but did not have either of his 2 mana leaks. Which would have been nice there.
All right. Well, how do you feel about Electrolyze?
I like it.
That's pretty nice here, right?
Kill your only guy that's in play and draw a card.
Did he?
I'm a fan.
Did he fire it off at Brian there?
Really? He's got Tribal Flames. Does he have?
He's got him down to 8. Wow. Oh, he's
Is
got
that
Profane
Profane
Command.
Command?
Yeah. He also just drew
Huh.
Pillory of the Sleepless, though. He could try to set up a win with that
I mean, Plague Drasaka gives Brian the ability to
just
kill
make
stuff.
that go away. That's a good point. Huh. Can you imagine being Brian?
Right. You have a one toughest creature play, and Finkel electrolyzes you for 2?
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't get to draw the card, right? He would just sack it. The Plague Drusaka.
Well, he doesn't have mana right now.
Oh, he doesn't have mana. So, yeah, he would have just killed it anyway. All right, well, let's see what John's lined up here. It looks like Profane Command is going to be the
There
card.
are a lot of choices with Profane Command.
And is he just doming him and killing the Rusalka here?
I think so.
So he does
1, 2, 3, 4,
5
5.
to bring Brian down to 3 here. Take a
Also
look at
known
Profane
as
Command.
Tribal Flames range.
Aha. So John is on the burn plan here. Pretty funny from a 5-color deck. Not a finish you see that often. Sometimes with like a Banefire,
Look,
but
Tribal Flames is one of the reasons to go into 5 colors.
totally.
Not good in a 2-color deck.
Battle Grace Angel.
Almost
Probably
in the
a
nick of
turn
time.
too late.
Yeah, and John just shows him the Tribal Flames.
Wow.
Brian says, yep, you got me.
Man, that Battle Grace Angel gaining Brian some life, just one swing with anything with that would have been fantastic.
Yeah. No, John needed to go for the burn plan like immediately. He did not have a turn to spare. He would have got hit by Battle Grace Angel, and everything comes falling apart.
Yeah, he saw the line and he took it.
Turns out these 2 Hall of Famers are good at Magic. John and Luis both up a game.
You see Luis has his
It's
mustache.
the Garvis Elscott
Yeah,
mustache.
Garvis Elscott's back. Yeah, he's got the mustache and he's got those stupid sunglasses. You know, he puts those on and he stares at you and you're just, I can't take you seriously. But he's spared Eric the sunglasses for this game, it looks like, and slow start from both. Rampant growth for Eric Hughes, developing his mana. No plays yet for Luis, who's just on both of his colors, though.
So what you're saying is that Luis is cosplaying this weekend?
Yeah. Big deal. Otherworldly Journey. Nah, I'll take that over here.
Now, Mirren Crusader can attack through it.
That's true. He cannot attack through those Eldrazi spawn. He can save himself some life by chump blocking with those for a turn or 3 or turn or 2, but Dread Drone cannot jump in front of the Crusader even if it wanted to chump block. And Eric's already on the life protection plan. He's already blocked. He was going to take 4 there, but he's not. And here's Arrest. It's just going to get rid of the Spellskite and its ability right now. Again, Arrest doing overtime here for Luis Scott Vargas. We saw it on Ant Queen last time.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 of those.
He's got 2 Arrests?
I think so.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he does.
That makes sense. You can see
It's a
the
very good
Arrest.
card.
Yeah, it has that critical second line of text there. Its activated abilities can't be activated. We've seen that now twice, back-to-back games where that was really the key. Oh, geez, here's another Dread Drone. So this Mirror Crusader is not getting in forever. You know, we did talk about that, Randy, when we were chatting about the format this morning about how, you know, big ground creatures, and I'm going to put Mirror Crusader in the big ground creatures camp here. They just can't get through sometimes. It takes forever. Eldrazi spawns, random Sapperling, soldier tokens. They're everywhere in this format.
Sometimes those Eldrazi spawn randomly turn into Ulamog's Crusher, too. Eric does play an Ulamog's Crusher.
Which would be insane here, by the way.
Not in his hand yet.
Luis plays the land. And he's going to play the Scarden Firebird here. He's just going to run it out there. Yeah, you know, he doesn't have the
I'd like to have
Bloodthirst.
Bloodthirst,
Yeah,
obviously.
but again, you know, we talked about this, right? The ground gets gummed up, so you go to the skies. That's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, even at 3/3, it's a relevant attackers. You don't really want to pay 6 mana for a 3/3 flyer, but you will if you have to.
That's right.
Mirror Crusader keeps coming over. What's his plan for the Dread Drones?
Yeah, that's interesting. He didn't attack last turn. He's going to attack this turn.
He must be planning post-combat to play something that's going to Wrecking Ball.
Okay. Wrecking Ball takes down the Scargan Firebird.
For now.
That's right.
He'll be back.
It could be. I mean, right now, Luis does not have a way to get damage through. And that Hearthfire Hobgoblin at least currently, isn't going to be able to
Hey,
get through. But he's chewing through
it's
those
another
Eldrazi
2/2 double
spawns very
striker.
quickly. Yeah, totally. Also, Luis has deftly left up that otherworldly journey he's got in his hand. And,
Nice.
man, he would love to be able to use that on one of these double strikers, save it
Suddenly
from
3/3 double
yeah,
striker,
make it a
and maybe
3/3
fizzle
double
a
strike.
removal spell.
Yeah. I mean, he can dream, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's going to happen here, too, because Eric's 2 cards in hand here are Grim Affliction, which he's going to fire off now. But there's also, I don't know if he can cast it. Does he have blue mana available?
It's Agony Warp.
Yeah, he doesn't have blue, though, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so he can't actually punish him for it. And here's Burst Lightning from Luis to take down one of the Dread Drones. That is a quick clock.
Yeah.
And the follow-up play is a Lodestone Golem. Not too bad at all. That will actually hold back the Crusader potentially here.
Yeah, it would be a trade if Luis attacked.
Yeah. Now, as far as the Hearthfire Hobgoblin goes, that guy's going to attack. But now all of a sudden, the 2 Eldrazi spawn represent really slowing down Luis's forward momentum here. All right, Blinding Soul Eater, and yeah, Luis doesn't attack at all this turn. He's just going to pass
Don't
the
have to
turn
pay
back.
extra for that one.
Yeah, it's Artifact. Of course, it has Summoning Sickness. He won't be able to activate it yet. All right, well, there's the blue mana for Eric, but as you can see, it can get a little awkward with these bounce lands. He's not going to be able to cast his Agony Warp this turn.
Another arrest. 3/3 for strike. Yeah. I mean, Luis just has to churn his way through those. He'll
Yeah.
get through them eventually.
Ooh, there's a Crusher off the top, Randy.
Wow. You see Eric do the quick mana count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
Yeah.
9 with the spawn.
Yeah, I would have liked to see what
And he plays
Luis's
a land.
expression was when that happened. It could not have been a happy, like, uh-oh, he's counting. Now, we know, though, that he's got the
That's
arrest
9.
in his hand, and he's going to be able to utilize that to keep the Ulamog's Crusher at bay here. He's also going to activate his Blinding Soul Eater on end step to help mitigate the board here. Probably will just tap this spawn because he knows he's going to use the arrest on the Ulamog's Crusher anyway.
Interesting.
And now Eric's going to be the one to say, uh-oh. If he's doing that, I guess my my Crusher's not long for this world. There's arrest. He's got to pay 4 for it thanks to the Lodestone Golem. And it looks like Eric's just going to pile up a bunch of those arrested creatures. And here's Hearthfire Hobgoblin that's going to attack. It's a 3/3 double strike. You know, Eric is at 20 here.
Yeah, I mean, he's blocked every turn.
He's blocked every single turn. He's really aggressively defending his life total here to try to get to the late
You
game.
kind of have to do that with these double strikers. Like, what if Luis has a brute force in his hand, right?
Yeah, super scary. All right, so Eric, you now has the mana available and untapped to cast that Agony Warp. He can use it to kill the Hearthfire Hobgoblin, and unfortunately for him, cannot target the Mirren Crusader. And he may want to do it here. Maybe on upkeep. I think upkeep is probably the best time to do it if he's going to do it anyway. And I think I would have fired it off there. He's let Luis have an extra draw step. It could come back to bite him. It's not likely to. It's just a random card off the top of Luis's library. But, you know, you never know. Yeah, because he's just going to do it now anyway. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to chump block the Hobgoblin with one of his, you know, real creatures here. But he is going to block before doing.
Yeah, just in case Luis has a trick. He doesn't want to get hit.
Yeah, well, because he can get a 2-for-1 here by killing the Blinding Soul Eater as well.
Yes, he's going to.
So, you know, this is a thing for Eric where if his only goal was to make sure the Hobgoblin died, then he would want to do it on his turn. But he decided, you know, I want to try to get value here, and I don't blame him.
His line worked out great.
Yeah, I actually like going for the.
Yeah, his line is a lot better than ours.
I like that line really well for trying to make sure you get full value because the tapper's a big deal there. That Blinding Soul Eater is big game. Now, if it backfired on him and the Hobgoblin got to stay alive, he'd be pretty sad, but I think it's worth going for the risk. Ooh, Oblivion Ring off the top for Luis, though. And the way is now clear. In comes Mirren Crusader and his new friend. He's offering to trade here.
Yeah, but like Eric is going to trade Dreadgrove for Sunspear?
I think so.
Yes. Luis is at 12. Maybe you can raise.
No, he's not going to trade it. And there it is. The Firebird comes back. It's going to go back in his hand. He can only do that if his opponent's taken damage this turn. So Eric could have prevented that by making that trade. Chump block and a trade. But it does feel like that's going to happen either way. I think he's drawn an Algae Gariel here. Yeah, he's just going to pass turn back. So whenever a creature dies, that thing's going to get bigger. It's also got Shroud. just a 1/1.
Suddenly trading makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, but he's a little bummed because he just churned through like what 3 or 4 Eldrazi spawn tokens, and that would have been nice. Crusader
no longer going to offer the trade because he doesn't want the algae to get out of hand.
Yeah, and there's no options here. Like he can't block either. That thing has pro green and pro black, and that's exactly what Eric's drawn as far as creatures go. And a huge follow-up here, Sickle Slicer and the Skargan Firebird. So Luis has really taken control of this game. And that's not the worst draw in his deck. It was a Nest Invader, which is actually going to give him a block here. And it will buy him a single turn. This is not looking good for Eric Yu, though. He has fallen pretty significantly behind. Uh-oh. Luis is tapping mana before combat. That can't be good. Moonlit Strider. It's not actually going to get him through, though, right?
No, but
forgot about Sickle Slicer.
Turning the flyer into 8 power.
Yeah, and even if Eric had a removal spell, now the Moonlit Strider does it. So that is the game. Well, Eric was super happy to get a chance to play against Luis. He said, he's one of his favorite players. But I think one of the reasons that Luis is a lot of people's favorite players is because he's really good at Magic, and sometimes he'll beat you. And it looks like our back match is also standing up here, too. They may have both finished at about the same time. And Eric's going to have a chat with Luis. That's one of the... get to talk to him.
Is that a Game 2 win for John as well?
I'm going to call it, yeah. I'm going to say that was
Seems
a 2-0
likely.
for John Finkel there as well.
Yep, confirmation.
All right, so
2-0
Finkel,
from
2-0.
Finkel, 2-0 from Luis.
Yep.
And in other news, water is wet. The sun's going to come up tomorrow morning.
Especially here in Vegas. All right, so we're going to transition over to the turbo match that we have the camera on. We've been
Is
putting
this King of the Hill?
King of the Hill match over there, yeah. Neil Oliver, for those of you that are just joining us on the stream, welcome. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I've got Randy Bueller with me here, and we are here all day. And it looks like a little playmat signing here for LSV. How nice is it that he's only got 3 letters to write,
I feel like he had a role in that. I mean, at some point early in his career,
you've been
he made
around
a
Magic
really
forever.
smart
Why
decision.
didn't you? What's your middle name? What does it start with?
E. I'm a red elemental blast.
That's kind of cool.
It's all right.
Reb?
Not terrible.
R-E-B? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, Neil Oliver, he won the last GP Vegas, right? This was a couple of years ago. It was the biggest Magic tournament ever. About 4,500 people in that event. Still the biggest individual Magic GP ever.
More skirmishers.
And so we've kept him in King of the Hill here.
Oh,
he's going to defend his
clearly
turf.
King of the Hill.
That's right. Nameless Inversions looks like it killed the Sky Hunter there. Neil Oliver's deck is a 4-color deck. It's capable of making all 5, but his spells cost the 4 colors. But he's got like a Skyreach Manta he can hit for 5. Oh, bad luck. Sickle Slicer, really nice here. He said he likes that card. It's a little clunky, but it does work.
Well said. Oof.
Oh, was that a
Goblin
lightning
War
bolt?
Paint. Yes, lightning bolt.
Brutal.
Gets the token and the Goblin War Paint. Rapid Flames fired off, and then the Dread Drone comes out. Oops. Lacerator may do an okay job of holding off Dread Drone, though.
Yeah, it makes sure the Dread Drone only gets in for 1. Interesting. Blinding Soul Eater. Was that a block there?
It was.
What is Neil Oliver setting up here? Attacks with the team and then fires off a Rampant Growth. It gets all 4 of his colors, and he's got a Cathodian as well. Now you got to like where Neil Oliver sits here. All right, Dimir Guildmage as well for Neil Oliver. And there's an Arrest. Arrest
Wow.
actually sealed the deal there. And it was on the Vampire Lacerator, interestingly. All right, so things going well for Neil Oliver. We actually had him in the feature match area last round, and we figured we'd throw the first King of the Hill match on our main table, and his deck performed admirably. He won the round. He's up a game here. Maybe repeat. Tall order.
I'd say probably not for the repeat. But somebody's going to have to beat him. Actually, two somebodies are going to have to beat him.
Yeah, that's what we're expecting, huh?
I feel like if you want to control your own destiny, think of the tournament as double a limb. The second loss knocks you out of contention for top 8.
How insane is that? It's a 15-round event.
If you might sneak in, like some people are going to sneak in on 2 losses is I think how it's going to play out.
Okay.
But it's going to be like, you know, the top couple of people from a 10-way tie, something like that.
So a Dusk Hunter bat there? Is that what that is?
Isn't it the Dagger Claw?
Yeah, that's a Dagger Claw. Yeah.
The 3-1, yeah, not the.
That's right. It's a 3-1 that can't block.
Smash to
well,
smithereens.
looks like I was predicting as opposed to reading.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the Dusk Hunter bat to follow up.
Man, it hurts to lose your 4/4 Etched Oracle to smash the smithereens.
Oh, that's brutal.
Like 1 more mana, and it could have been so glorious. I could have fizzled the spell, not taken the damage, drawn 3 cards.
Jeez.
But no.
There's Karplusan Strider, though, and a Skyreach Manta for 4 is going to hold down the ground. So this is a big turn here. If Neil Oliver gets to untap with that Manta still intact, he could be in really good shape. If he doesn't,
Rapid Flames.
He's going to Rapid Flames
Clear
just to
a
punch
path.
through 5 damage here. That's interesting. He had the option also of attacking with his Dagger Claw Imp and then playing Rapid Flames to get rid of it, but he would have 2-for-1 himself and taken himself off of this damage pile. Matka Riders now. It's only a 3/3.
Mantis playing defense.
Mighty Leap.
Mighty Leap. Oh, but Nameless Inversion.
Huge blowout for Neil Oliver there. He gets the straight up 2-for-1. That's why we play, Randy. And that's going to do it.
Welcome
back to the